Hey everybody, it's Audrey. Thanks for coming back to my channel. I am playing catch up with my 'Tis the Season Holidays Scrappin' series between being sick and losing my voice and then getting back to work and, regular life. I have been trying to catch up. So I'm back and I'm going to be sharing the next set of videos over the next couple of days. So today I am using a cut file from the cut shop, and these cut files are actually designed to be used like in a traveler's notebook, but I love the font of this title that said "Twas the Night Before Christmas," so I'm going to use it on a page. And I've just gone in, opened the file, traced it, and now I am drawing a square that is the size of my photo so that I know approximately how big to size the title. And I thought I had this layout design in mind. I wanted the title to be right next to the photo, and I wanted it, I don't know why, but I kind of wanted it to look like a book so that, the title was on one side and then the photo was on the other. And my other goal was to try to use a lot of pattern paper. I notice I often do a lot of embellishing or mixed media, and I don't really use a ton of pattern paper, which is fine. I mean, that's part of my style, but I have so much Christmas stash that I really wanted to use some paper. So I just started playing around here. I really don't know what I was doing. I was trying to play around with patterns to see, if I wanted to do like a solid on a print or whatever. And like that's the point where my digital designing kind of stops. Like I can't get into all that. Just, laying it out in Silhouette Studio is fine, but I need to actually get to the real paper. So I am using some scraps from some old basic gray collections. This one is Nordic Holiday. There's a couple other ones here. I really don't know what they are. What's the other one? Nordic Holiday, and then there's like a I'm not sure. I can't remember. Eskimo Kisses. That's the one. Eskimo Kisses. And my photo has a lot of red in it, but I absolutely love this green plaid paper in the background. That's one of my favorite Christmas prints. So I'm going to use a big chunk of that pattern. And again, I'm trying to go for a lot of pattern paper. And that's probably why I actually end up struggling with this page, because I am not used to using a lot of pattern paper. So I had a hard time with my design. So I'm playing around with some of the stickers from, this is the Eskimo Kisses collection. I thought, maybe I need a big cluster of embellishments over on the left, and what can I use? Here's yet another basic gray collection. So I just started going through my stash, trying to look for some things that would go. And I pull out this old transparency and some old crepe paper lines and some old Echo Park lines. And I just start, really going through my stash to find a whole bunch of things. So I definitely know I'm going to keep this green paper in the background. What I'm going to do with these embellishments on top, I'm not sure yet. So I haven't cut my title yet either, because I am not sure what color I want to cut it. Do I want to cut it in a dark green to contrast against the red? But then I'm thinking maybe that's going to be too much contrast. So I'm just going to start, I'm just going to keep playing with the design here a little bit more. And you'll often see me tapping my fingers. You notice here I'm wearing a different shirt because this is a different day, because I had to just stop it and let it go for a little bit and come back and look at it with a different, fresh set of eyes. So I'm going to keep this green, and then I decide, you know what, I like to do mixed media, so let me do some of that on the page. So I put this sticker, this border sticker down too. I'm going to use a clear gesso because, again, I don't want to cover up that green. So I'm just going to spread some clear gesso with a foam brush. You can use a hairbrush as well. Not a hairbrush, but a paintbrush made out of hairs. But and then I'm going to go through with some greens. I am using, I think, a Distress Oxide. I am using a spray from Studio Calico called Tannenbaum. Then I'm going to go in with this darker green. This is a Shimmers. I think it's called something about the, Pining for You. Because the green that's on there now is really too bright. It's too much of a yellowy green. So I had to bring in some of this kind of darker green. But I do like the way that this background comes out. Again, I wasn't planning to go all green, but I think that by having most of the background green, it really helps bring out the colors in my photo. And then I'm going to go through with a fan brush and do some splatters there. And then this gold, which I've used a couple times, is a powder from Lindy's Stamp Gang, and you just put some water on it to activate it, and it turns out really pretty here. And I'll do a few of those splatters. Okay, so that has dried, and I'm going to use this transparency, I think. And one of the difficulties, I love transparencies, I think they're really pretty, but when I'm working underneath lights like this, so I have kind of like, you know, studio photography lights that I use to illuminate my desk. When I do that, it puts such a glare on the transparency that I really have to kind of like stand up and move my head from side to side so I can see what it looks like without the glare. And I'm sure that as you're watching the video too, the glare might be a little distracting, but it is what it is with the lights there. So I'm still struggling with this. I love the mixed media background now. And then I don't know. I'm just like, what am I doing? I'm finding these little pieces. I'm trying to use stash too. That's the other thing. I'm like, I have so much stash. Let me use it. Can I use up some stuff on this chipboard? I take it off because I don't like the way the colors are looking. So yeah. So, you know, I considered deleting all this process of my struggle with embellishments, but I think it's, you know, important, especially nobody's pages are perfect, and the process is often not perfect either. We all encounter struggles, so you know, why delete them? Embrace them. So I decided to cut the title out of navy, and because I wanted something dark to go against the red, but I didn't want black, and I considered doing brown, but I didn't think that would be enough contrast against the red. So I like the navy. And there is a little bit of blue in the plaid. I mean, yes, it's a lighter blue, but speaking of which, that lighter blue, I thought I would try to pick up on that. And these are some old Heidi Swapp stars. I wish they were a little bit lighter. I thought they were more transparent, but they're obviously not. And they are kind of like an ombre blue, but they were a little bit too dark. Even though it does pick up the blue in the plaid a little bit, it's pretty, but I don't think I end up keeping it. As I was going through some papers, I found this cute card that said 24, and of course it is the night before Christmas, which is the 24th, and I thought the colors matched pretty well, so I'm going to try to squeeze that in there as well. And here is where I'm trying to pick up on some of the blue elements again. And then I thought that I would maybe use the idea of the blue and then pick up on some of the stars and transparency and kind of extend the stars by punching some stars from blue paper and just kind of scattering them around the page. And I do like that. And I'll put some right on top of the transparency too. Of course, I end up taking all of this off so that I can start gluing stuff down. So back again, I'm going to continue to change my plan because I still wasn't happy with the big chunk of red paper there. I think it was just too, what's the word I'm looking for? It was like too geometric. It was like a rectangle on a rectangle, and I wanted a little bit more than that. I don't know what, but it just wasn't satisfying for me. So I ended up folding that red paper over a little bit, and it has a cool little green print in the back that kind of, you know, blends in with the background a tiny bit. And just by shrinking that down, I think that it helped me with my embellishing a little bit more. I didn't have as much space that I had to fill up with embellishments, and then I moved my title off further to the side. I'm still going to use this transparency in here because I like it, but I am going to cut it down a little bit just so you have a little peek of it there. So I am much more satisfied with this design, clustering the embellishments around my photo, leaving a place for the title, and still being able to see the mixed media in the background. I'm going to pick up some of the circle shapes I have here and try to use up some stash of the chipboard. And I'll take off some of these pieces on the chipboard. They're circular ornaments, and I just trim off like the pointy part of the ornament to make them just look like plain circles. So I'm feeling much better about this design, and I think I'm going to maybe go ahead and start actually gluing something down. Yeah, so I kind of picked everything up off the page, and you can see I machine stitched a line of red thread between the sticker and the pattern paper in the background. And the transparency, I put some glue on it, but I know that that doesn't often work. I don't know why I didn't use my tape runner. I should have just used that. But then I clipped it down with some staples too, just to keep it in place. So here I'm using my tape runner. I don't know why I didn't use my tape runner on my transparency. But once I stuck it down, this tape runner does not come off. It's very difficult. You can see my paper ripping there. So I'm like, I was going to move it a little bit because it wasn't exactly where I wanted it. I hate when that happens. And that's why I like to use liquid glue, because sometimes you do have a little bit of time with liquid glue. So I'm just going to leave it like it is. I wanted to push it a little bit more to the right, but whatever. And then I'm just going to start putting my embellishments back on. And I used liquid glue for that star as well, which it dries clear. I mean, you can kind of see a little bit of white underneath it, but when it's over the mixed media, and I'm going to put the title over the top of that, you can see it just fine without the glue behind it. I was trying to also put in a couple pieces of flare. I do keep the one on the right, but sometimes the flare is just too thick, and it wasn't my chipboard pieces here are layered on top of each other. So I have the Christmas tree, and then the Santa on top, and then the Be Merry on top of that. So the depth of this page already is pretty. It has some height to it. So I didn't want to put another piece of flare on top over there, and it was too big to tuck underneath the Santa. So I'm just going to get rid of it. I think that it's funny how this navy title against the green background, it doesn't look as dark as it did against the red, and I'm assuming that's just because of the red-blue contrast versus the blue and green contrast. And plus, it looks almost a little bit more of a dark green when it's like this, which kind of picks up on the Christmas tree. So the rest, I'm just going to be gluing down my little bits, my little stars, and the chipboard circle pieces I have. And with the chipboard pieces here that are layered on top of each other, I sometimes double up my foam pieces so that if I have a piece that's really high off the page, I'll put 2 layers of foam dots. So I'll put a foam dot on, and then I'll put another one underneath that same foam dot just to give it some more height. Tucking the circles around. So, night before Christmas, of course, gotta leave out the cookies and milk for Santa. The kids are so funny because Charlotte's like, leave all the cookies, and my son's like, we have to leave something healthy for the reindeer and for Santa. He doesn't want cookies all the time, so we leave a pile of carrots and cookies and milk. And they were very excited, and it's so hard to get them to bed on the night before Christmas. So, is that it? Yeah, that's wrapping it up here. So I just go back and I add in some journaling. I didn't add in the date on this one, obviously, because I knew what the date was. It was the night before Christmas, so it must have been December 24th. I usually put a date stamp somewhere, but I didn't. So there's the final page. So yeah, this one was a struggle a little bit, but I feel like it came together at the end. I'm glad I used my stash. I love that plaid pattern paper. I love this title, this cut file. So I guess in the end it was, I'm pretty satisfied. I love seeing the machine stitching there through the transparency. So thank you so much for stopping by and watching my video tonight, and I will have more videos in the next couple days. See you soon. Stay scrappy, friends.